With any form of entertainment, especially when it comes to video games, there's a chance for disappointment. Like, you ever know that one dad who's so disappointed in their kid that's like, you kill me just to be alive? Kind of disappointment. Some games have that capacity. That is always a possibility, but one game that I feel let people down greatly was Fallout 4, which is a shame because the game had a great deal of promise to it, or so I've come to believe based on what I've learned since the game's release. It had a number of unfavorable things said about it. I would describe it as soulless, kind of like Blade Runner sequel, or so I hear. It's fun, but don't get me wrong. But eventually, it becomes a continuous stream of repetition as you go on mission after mission for the factions of the Commonwealth, be it for the Brotherhood of Steel, the Railroad, the Minutemen, or the Institute, or yada yada yada. Or do these side missions where you are not seeking leads on your kidnapped son. There is very little depth, little for me to become invested in anyway. Beyond the companions, the game left much to be desired. And to those who come to this and say, you're just hating on Fallout 4 because it's popular to do, or I'm assuming it was popular at one point before 76 reared its ugly head, to this to say, I don't want to hate on this game. As it and Outside Xbox's videos commenting on the subject were more or less the predecessor for my introduction to the franchise. I got into Fallout because of Fallout 4, and I like it, but it has issues kind of like DC Comics. And, well, yeah, I'm still going to talk about it. Hell, because of it, I finally played my copy of Fallout 3 in New Vegas, which is one of my favorite video games of all time. It caused me to start learning the lore of the series, and I love to play it from time to time. So don't misunderstand, I do like it, but believe it could have been better. To sum up my gripes with the game, the following are some of them. It was needlessly dumbed down, which I suspect may have been done for normies. The lack of RPG elements as well as the lack of philosophical depth are also both a detriment. In fact, it seems that there was no real philosophy in the game beyond bigotry being bad, kids. I also found the missed opportunity to do some Blade Runner shenaniganery or references, assuming I have not missed one, to be asininely aggravating. It was not even given enough time to develop properly, from what I understand, and so many great concepts and game assets were cut, and I feel more robbed than Star Wars fans after The Last Jedi. And the worst part was perhaps that the game has taken a page out of what less intellectual sorts like Red Letter Media would call the George Lucas method, which is, we'll fix it in post, with patches and yada yada yada. It also relies too heavily on modders to improve upon the flaws. Seriously, modders do more to make this game better than I think Bethesda ever was in danger of considering doing. Like, that's how stupid it is. It really felt like Bethesda was going out of their way to make an inferior game, as if I needed another reason to hate the shit out of Bethesda, which in truth seems to be par for the course with that company. I contend that Bethesda does not make quality games. They outsource the actual work to other developing companies and have them do it, such as Human Head and Obsidian, and publish them. They have little knowledge of quality standards, contrary to what Pete Hines claims. Modders did a good job of providing us material which should have been obvious if the developers knew what the fuck they were doing. Hell, the modders put the developers to shame, is what I'm saying. And yeah, it's really sad. Where was I? Oh yeah. Point is, the game had some promise, but was robbed of more content. Take the search for Sean as an example. Kellogg is dispatched rather swiftly with no option to do anything else with him. Look back to New Vegas with Benny. The bastard who put a bullet in your head. We were given the option to try and work with him. Try. He still screws us over, but we tried to be nice with him. I would have preferred the option to do so with Kellogg. The Minutemen could have been made a small army that are more durable than the useless meme that they have become known as today. But yeah, back to the Kellogg thing. Like, Kellogg, it's implied that he kind of feels bad about killing the sole survivor's wife. I would have liked to explore that more. Maybe have him become a possible companion who the sole survivor, I don't know, ends up becoming friends with, or at the very least, Kellogg is given a chance at redemption and he takes it. I would have liked to have seen that. That would have been cool. I also would have liked the idea that, because one mod about this game I enjoyed was the fact that you could get a Ranger Sequoia, one of my favorite weapons from Fallout New Vegas. You can find this in Kellogg's safe house in Diamond City. Now, Kellogg was from where the NCR eventually rose from. They could have explored that more. Like, you could have explained why we have some weapons from New Vegas in the Commonwealth. That would have been a good explanation that Kellogg brought some of it with him from New Vegas or the NCR territories. You could have done that. You could have explored, I don't know, like, the companions were the only redeemable thing about this game for me. Like, Nick Valentine and Piper Wright are the main bright sides of this game, and the other companions probably are too, but those are the main two I focused on. And it was wasted potential. It was wasted potential, and I expect nothing less from Bethesda. Granted, I'm a bit biased here because I have a hate boner for them, but still. I would have liked the option to, I don't know, like there was this one thing where I believe there was an option that you could take over the Brotherhood of Steel after you take out Maxim when you discover that Paladin Danse is actually a synth. I would have liked that also doing in the game. Like, it was a fun game, don't get me wrong, but it got repetitive real fast. And yeah, there was so much room for improvement. So yeah, I don't hate the game, but God only knows it needed more time in the oven before it was brought to us. Because, damn it, did it have issues? Like, it's a Bethesda game, so I expected to have more issues than Cosmo, but it's very aggravating that we live in a day and age when this quality standard for games now are so low, it's almost pathetic. So yeah, that's my stance on Fallout 4. That's why I think it's a bad game. It's fun, don't get me wrong, and I still say that is the most important thing about a game. It needs to be fun. But, God, was there so much issue. And then, their answer to this problem was to then make a multiplayer game that felt like Fallout 4, but in multiplayer form. Like, this should have been multiplayer for Fallout 4, essentially. Like, the building settlements thing, I was fine with that. Now, 76, I was interested in playing until I found out it was multiplayer. But actually, no, that's a rant for not even worth getting into. So, yeah, that's my video. Have a nice day, and pray for sanity. And Todd Howard and Pete Hines to be fired, but that's more of my prayer.